How do you balance between, finding the right property, missing out, or like, hey, I could have waited a little bit, I would have found a lot better property, or oh, I should have just waited because that one just came out the following week and that is a lot better than the one that I got. So let's talk about showing properties. There's a great book out there. It's called Algorithms to Live By, that talk about basically how people choose options. Or how people choose any kind of purchase. There are I don't know. There's people out there that, they walk into property, they see exactly what they're looking for, they purchase it. And then there's the person that it looks at a property, it is always looking for or thinks that there's going to be a better property, whether it be a higher return on investment or something that, they have 10 boxes they need to fit and it only checks 8 and they think there's one that's going to check all 10 boxes, or maybe it checks all 10 boxes, but now that they have all the requirements met, they think that there's just that extra box or something that maybe there's something, even better. The correct way, in discussing, obviously in the book, Algorithms to Live By, is there's a certain sort of return on investment in that after you've checked, X amount of properties, at a certain point, yes, you start to get into the issue of the possibility that that is actually the best property, and that you could be missing out on that best property for the idea that there's something better on the other side. Of course, there is perfection out there in the idea of it's the exact property that you're looking for. The debate is whether that is the best property that you're going to be able to find for your budget and your income and whatever, or if there is another property out there. Now, it could be potentially, let's say you're going to look at, 20 properties. It could be that property number 13 is the best that you're going to get. What happens is some people go, well, we only did 13 properties. I want to look at a little bit more. So then they look at property 14, 15, 16, 17, and all of those aren't as good as property 13. Of course, property 13 is off the market. So what happens? They lose that ability to sort of get that property that was the perfect property. So the idea here with this book and the Algorithms to Live By is then, how do you balance between, finding the right property, missing out, or like, hey, I could have waited a little bit, I would have found a lot better property, or oh, I should have just waited because that one just came out the following week and that is a lot better than the one that I got. Or even worse, oh, I should have bought that property 2 weeks ago because that's really the best property. Everything else I'm seeing is really not as good as that one. I should have just took that one. Well, the book breaks it down, and basically it says that you should try to sit down and think about the amount of time or quantity of houses that you would think you'd be able to see before finding a property. So for example, we're working with a client right now, and they need to be in a property, and they want to be in a property and close before sort of the hot summer season, before all these people start moving, because they think the competition is going to be really high. Plus they want to move. There's some other personal reasons, but they want to be in by, let's call it, May 1st. So, an April closing. Well, right now it's February. So they have February, March, April. So figuring they're going to do a 30-day close, they need to have an offer in by at least April 1st, kind of a worst case. So they have 60 days. So of those 60 days, you're going to see properties, let's say for, let's say, 2 months. They're only able to do so on the weekends. So let's say you're going to look at 3 properties a week for 4 weeks. That's a month. So that's 12 properties. And then, the next month, maybe look at another 12 properties. So you're going to look at 20, 25 properties or so. Probably the opportunity to find one that you want to purchase, put an offer in to close by then May 1st. So Algorithms to Live By basically says is that you need to take a portion of this 25 and kind of just for the first little bit, don't even think about buying. Just kind of be doing a survey of what's available for your price point, for the location, looking at all the other requirements that you have. So for the first 10 properties, for example, you would just say, you know what? These look like they're pretty good. These look like they match. You go out knowing you're not going to put any offers on any of them. I mean, things happen, right? But you're not going to put any offers. But the idea is you're going out just to kind of get an idea of what's out there. So you go out, you tour these 10 properties, and after those 10 properties, you should have made some, qualifications in your mind as far as saying, yep, I understand these are the type of cabinets that I'm going to see in my price point, in my location, and this time and air. These are the types of bathrooms and the finishes. This is the type of location I'm going to get. This is the yard size. This is the type of the community, whatever. Once you've surveyed and you've gotten a good idea, and you've now taken your 10 box requirements and maybe you've reduced them down to like, well, I guess I'm not going to find that, this, that, and the other based on my price point. I'm not seeing it's not really available. And you sort of reset your expectations. You've now come up with a new list. The point is that you found now what you're willing to sort of compromise on during that sort of survey process. You're able to say, you know what, I have looked at it and I have seen some properties and I realized that I'm okay with the drive because I want that type of quality. Or you would say, for the location, because I want the short drive to work, I realize that I'm not going to get that nice of a property or that much square footage. So I'm going to have to compromise them by doing, maybe a little bit less of a property. So once you've come up with sort of those compromises based on what you've decided as far as location, the travel, and all those types of things, you've come up with your new list. Algorithms to live by says then purchase the next property that hits all of those new requirements. So meaning that now that you've sort of seen what's out there, you've seen in the field, once you get another property that sort of meets those requirements, buy it. Because that's where you run into, and that's the decision point of like, you know what? Yes, there is a possibility that you could find something that meets all those requirements and maybe just one other on that original list. But there's also a very good possibility that you're going to find a property that meets all those requirements, but is actually not meeting one or two of them on now the subset or the compromise set of requirements. So the point there is that, then you go in and now you've realized, okay, I'm going to be in this area. Because I'm in this area, I'm not going to have the upgraded finishes because these are older homes, but I like the commute. I like the city. I like this areas. I like the schools, but I can't afford the brand new house that's in this area. It's another 300,000. I'm going to have to succumb to something a little bit older. Well, when you go and you find that house and that is older, that meets the requirements, that meets this, you buy it. Because if you don't, the next house maybe doesn't meet all those requirements. The next house may also meet those requirements, potentially, but it may not. Now, there is potentially always an option that, yes, absolutely, you could hold out and you could say, hey, but what if I do find a place that's updated and I do find, but again, that's not the exercise. So the point is you want to survey the amount of time that you're looking for houses or the amount of weekends that you have or the number of houses. Take about 30% of that number and do nothing. Don't even consider printing and purchase. Just survey. Get your good set of requirements. Really get a good set of like, okay, this is I'm pretty honing in. This is the kind of house we're looking for. And then when you find the house that meets those requirements, purchase it and don't look back. And to save yourself a little bit of insanity, my also recommendation would be to don't then look at any other properties. I hate when buyers put an offer on a contract and then they go in and keep looking at properties after that. Go, oh, this one could have been better. Oh, that you're going to hate yourself for it. Yes, there's always going to be a better property. Yes, there's always going to be a better deal. It's just the nature of the business. It is what it is. Even if it's not necessarily a better deal, you work yourself into it because that's what we do as human beings. So when you're choosing a real estate agent, you want to find a real estate agent that actually understands this principle, which is why I'm covering this. The other day I was talking to an agent and they basically were saying that like, hey, I hate having to show properties. Like, oh, I got to show 15 properties 15 times. And I'm like, listen, average buyer is probably going to look for property for 2 to 3 months. In 2 to 3 months, if you're taking them out every couple of weekends or so, they're going to see, they might see 20 properties or so. They need that first couple of weekends, the first 10 showings to show them what's even possible, what's even available for their budget, the location, everything they're looking for. So when we're showing properties, when I'm talking to buyers and they're like, oh, I know you're showing a lot of properties, I always say, wait. Let me stop you there. I want to show you at least 10 to 15 properties so you can get a good survey of the land. After 10 or 15 properties, after we really hone down exactly what you're looking for, then we're really going to start targeting the ones that we're thinking about putting an offer in. And after that, after those new requirements, if I'm showing you properties that are checking all the boxes and you're still not putting offers because you think that then just maybe there's something better, well, yeah, at that time you get frustrated, but not before. But make sure you're dealing with a real estate agent that's okay with giving you that time initially for the first couple of weekends or the first couple of weeks just to kind of get a survey of the land. um, definitely make sure don't let someone rush you into it. It's a house you're going to purchase. It's a big investment. And get someone that is really working in your side, working for your best interest, and your best interest is making sure that you get the house that you really want.